This week we have a bit of a change of plans in that the 112 Philips is not quite ready yet. So I'm still waiting on the dial glass, which I'll pick up at the meeting tomorrow. Meanwhile, I've been to Bendigo, which is in central Victoria, and went to the Elvis exhibition up there. And while I was up there, I picked up a radio which had been sitting on Facebook Marketplace for maybe 6 to 8 weeks or something. And while it didn't look all that promising, it's not that promising. But it does work now that I've recapped it and everything like that. And this is the story of that endeavour. It is what they call Carmine Brown or Carmen Brown as a brand name, and sorry, it should be Carmen Red. I'm actually looking at it and it's obviously brown. But the back is red. And the base is actually red too, which weren't in the photographs. So this is a fairly rare colour for these radios. And as you'll see, the red fades away somewhat badly. Red is not a great colour. I was told by the people at Honda Australia many years ago, when I think it was the second generation Prelude came out, so the early 80s or mid 80s, that red was the worst colour to get a car in because the red fades the worst. I don't know whether that's still the case, but it's certainly the case with this. I have done some polishing on it, and you'll see that in the video. It doesn't look all that promising though, so it's still fairly brown. The front obviously needs a good paint on it, and I'll do that later in the year when it's not quite so freezing cold. Okay, so let's get into it. By the way, I was in Aldi this morning and I noticed that they had these lights, these magnified lights, and they've actually got a much bigger magnifier on them than this one. I've had this for many years, probably about 15, 17 years. And yeah, I couldn't see a price on them, so I didn't actually get one. Maybe I should have. Okay, so let's get into the video now. So this is the raw radio. As you can see, it's not in great condition. The dial is missing its brass ring or chrome ring. It's brass, I think, on the Philips, but the felt is still there. And there's evidence of the paint, and it's in pretty bad condition because it's just flaking off, as you can see. Speaker grill is not too bad. The whole face isn't too bad, and it will paint up quite reasonably. Those are not the original knobs. The dial pointer is pretty knackered, so it'll need straightening out again. At least I've got two other examples to go by. So I've taken the knobs off. Only came with two knobs and they're not original. The top of the case is pretty disastrous. That's the area I sort of mucked around with on the train coming back from Bendigo. It's quite a long trip. So it did have some promise there. What I might have to do is get to it with some wet and dry. I do have some polishing attachments for the drill now. Finally tracked some down, like my father's, although his was much better. Obviously, it doesn't exist anymore because he died 20 years ago. And his Black & Decker drill weighed a ton and it was all metal. But the case is okay. You can see the red on the back, which is the original Carmine colour. You can look up the Carmine on Wikipedia. I'll put a link down in the comments below. Sort of a muddy, browny, reddy colour. The base shows some red, as you can see. And that's probably what it looked like when it was new, because inside the case is pretty much that colour too. There's a lot of muck on it. So the serial number is fairly low compared to the other two. It's 1, 2 or something, and the others are 2, 8 or something. So we'll take the back off it and have a look inside. I'm not sure whether the screws were painted or they're just pretty rusty. Almost all of the back is in really good condition. There's just that one missing piece. Which I should be able to fix somehow or another. One of the screws is actually missing, but that's not a real big problem. And it has the original heat shield, which I haven't seen before on these. They've all had their backs broken and the heat shield's been missing. So we'll take this very crusty I was going to say nicotine stained cord off. And you can see the shield there absolutely caked in dust. So I'll come in a bit closer for you. And you can see all the dust on it. Doesn't look like outside dust. Looks more like bedroom dust or living room dust. So it's got a pretty thick coating on it, which has actually protected the chassis somewhat. I was hoping that the coils were intact, and yeah, we'll see how they go. But it's fairly positive. And the sound is about to come back. Okay, so it's on the dim bulb. I think we have sound now. Didn't have the microphone plugged in. Okay, so I'll have to do a voiceover over that. Okay, so let's bring this up very slowly. So that's 140 volts. It's on the dim bulb and the Variac and the isolation transformer. All right. 160. No life yet. 180. 180. Ooh, this is glowing slightly and it's getting warm. To 200. It's humming slightly. Bring it up a bit further. 220. Which is probably around about 200 on the Variac or the dim bulb. Definitely getting some life in there. It's definitely humming. Bring it up a bit further. Okay. Sounds like the main filtering capacitors have had it. And given these radios, who knows what else. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off, take it outside and blow it out. Then I'll replace the capacitors and we'll see what happens. I can't do anything much with the case other than continue to clean the top off and the sides. I definitely can't paint it at this time of year, it's far too cold. So I'll have to wait till September, October when it warms up again. Okay, so off it goes and outside it goes. Okay, so it's all recapped and it's working very, very well. I've actually got the aerial attached to the internal aerial, which is just basically a piece of aluminium tape. It actually sounds pretty good. Hasn't been put back in its case yet. I've actually done some work on the case just to experiment with it. So I don't know whether you can see this at all. So this is the original, just washed. This is a bit of plastics polish. This is plastics polish with cutting compound, cut and polish, and this is all three with the final polish on it. Yeah. So polish. So plastics, cut and polish over the plastics, then polish over the plastic, over the cut and polish and the plastics. I think that's right, yeah. So it's not red anymore, but it is coming up slowly. So the base is actually red. You can see the redness in there. Very, very dark red. But I don't think this is ever going to come back to red because red fades the worst. This is 3MP, which is very hard to get here because we're down in the bottom of a little valley thing. So I'll try changing the stations. This is connected to the internal aerial, which I'll show you in a minute. If I connect it to the external aerial, it does come in, but it's not quite as strong because there's this cap up here. Yes, so there's this little mica cap here which attenuates the signal from the external antenna. So you need a fairly long antenna, I would think. I've only got about 5 meters here. If I put it back onto the internal antenna, works a little bit better. And so we'll start going through the stations. So we'll start at the top end. It's that strange Chinese channel. There's that racing channel. That's Deadly, the Aboriginal station. That's 3XY, the Greek station. Or is it Italian? I never can remember whether it's Italian or Greek. There's Magic. SBS. 6 before football, or 6 before soccer.
Telephone crisis line on 1114 or online at lifeline.org.au. To find out more about this and other titles currently played.
So that's the radio for the print handicap, or Vision Australia as it's now called.
Probably depends how hard we, but
the racing station.
From Melbourne to Mackay, you're with ABC News Radio, and Eastern Time is about 4:30. 4 o'clock if you're in Adelaide or Darwin, and if you're tuned in Perth and across WA, coming up to 2:30 now on ABC News Radio, that's News Time. ABC News with Glenn Lauder. The new Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says revitalising the nation's trade partnership with Indonesia is a priority for his Labor government. Anthony Albanese's met with the Indonesian
SEN or whatever it's called this week. Something there. 3CR, the community radio station.
Yeah, they're either telling you to drink or telling you to gamble or eat junk food, and this is in elite sporting fields. It's insane. So
3LO or ABC Melbourne or whatever it's called this week. .3AW, which I don't know why it, you can never pick it up anywhere in Melbourne, and it's supposed to be the top rating station too.
what's going on and so on is, of course, very bureaucratic heavy, as you said. So the fact that it could be done does not mean it will be easy to do. And
Radio National. And that's about it. Okay, so we'll have a look at the case. I'll just turn that down.
A warm and friendly welcome. Sydney's Radisson Blue Plaza Hotel. Visiting for business, school holidays or Vivid 2022? The Radisson offers boutique luxury in the heart of Sydney's CBD. Just minutes to shops, theatres, Circular Quay and the Rocks. With Wynyard Station just around the corner. Convenient to everything. Affordable 5-star comfort. Book now or find out more about the Radisson Blue Plaza Hotel Sydney at radissonhotels.com or call 1300 Radisson.
You want a warmer home in winter, inside and out. But those cafe-style heaters cost a fortune to run, right? Not if it's a Tiva. A Tiva heater is the fastest, warmest indoor-outdoor heater you'll ever own. And with its direct heat technology, is 50% cheaper to run than equivalent gas heaters. Plus, motion sensor activation gives it super efficiency. Get the heater everyone wants in your home. Tiva. Call 1-800-944-444 now or visit getthedeal.com.au.
Now, the latest news.
Find us on Facebook. Just search for Magic 1278.
Magic 1278, part of the Ace Radio Network.
11 degrees in Melbourne, showers tomorrow, a top of 11. It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Tony Tardio. Australia's consumer watchdog has been asked by the federal government to keep an eye on electricity and gas prices as the energy crisis escalates.
Possibly can. It's been an ugly old day.
And this year's only because of Russian President Vladimir Putin's attendance at Anthony Albanese.
I'm focused on sitting with President Widodo, not sitting with President Putin. Vladimir Putin attended previous meetings in Australia, hosted by Tony Abbott. That didn't mean that we agree with his stance. Indeed, we find President Putin's behaviour to be abhorrent.
The new Defence Minister says he has an open
Okay, so I've put it back in its case. Oops, sorry. And buttoned it up for now. So this is the damage bill, and it's not pretty. So all 5 valves were just about on the, All 5 valves were just about finished. They were not working at all. So I've taken these out of another radio and I'll have to order another set. But there's no real hurry for this, because as I said earlier, the case won't get done till September at the earliest probably. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll button this one up and be back next week, hopefully with the dial to the 112. Okay, see you on the flip side.